Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, then turn that notification button on right now.
WWE has become an ever-growing organism. They are reaching their limbs out all over the world as they look to expand their reach to every corner of the globe. With WWE's UK brand having been announced and starting up over the course of the next few months, the company has taken their first step towards branching out their product to different parts of the world. However, where there is growth, there is often loss. Over the course of the last couple of decades, WWE has proved that when it comes to pro wrestling, they are the go-to brand, whether it be taking over the territories to urge the coming of a new dawn, buying out their only viable competitor WCW, or outlasting TNA, now known as Impact Wrestling. WWE has done it all. With that, there have been so many stars who worked in WWE's roster for the longest time. While some stayed with the company through a large number of years, at some point each person had to hang up their shoes at one time or another. WWE has released quite a few wrestlers over the years, and they have made it out into the world and look to succeed without the company. While some have succeeded, others have not. My name is John, and in this video we will talk about those wrestlers who were released by the company between the years of 2011 to 2013, and here are the top 10 wrestlers to have left the company between this time. Harry Smith, also known as Davey Boy Smith Jr, is the son of WWE's legendary wrestler, the British Bulldog. He signed a contract with WWE in 2006 and soon enough came up to the main roster. With the Hart family name, a lot was expected of him, but he just couldn't live up to the legend of his father. He went on to form the Hart Dynasty with Tyson Kidd and Natalya, and while the duo were successful as a tag team, their success didn't last. The two were split up by management, and Smith faded into the background. According to Smith, he had lost passion for wrestling while he was in WWE. Perhaps it was fortunate for him that he was released by the company in 2011. His passion for pro wrestling would be regained as he went on to work for independent promotions, and he finally went on to wrestle in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and although he left the company for a while, he has returned again, and as of now, he is signed with a contract to New Japan. When Eddie Guerrero passed away, it broke a lot of hearts across the world. His family, friends, and fans were left inconsolable at the tragic loss of such a talented wrestler at such a young age. In his career in WWE, Chavo and Eddie had always been together in some form or another. If they were not tag partners, they were feuding with each other. While Rey Mysterio would receive a push after Eddie's loss, Chavo did not. He found himself a part of La Familia, and although he was never the main part of the stable, he played a supporting role for Edge. Finally, soon after La Familia was disbanded, Chavo found himself being sidelined more and more. He was then released from the company at his own request in 2011. Since his release, Chavo was a part of the independent scene where he continues to wrestle. He had a short stint in TNA before he signed a contract with Lucha Underground, where he still wrestles as well, and he is also a part of the Glow Netflix series. At one point in time, Michelle McCool was the face of the women's division in WWE. Unfortunately for her, this was before the women's revolution, and although she had all the talent to make a difference in the division, she could not really make a mark that was lasting in nature. She won both the women's and divas title twice each, and she would leave the company after being pinned by her one-time teammate Layla. She retired, although she returned to support her husband The Undertaker in his matches, and she was also part of the first ever Women's Royal Rumble in 2018. Another star in the company who didn't achieve as much success as she could due to the time that she was in the company was Gail Kim. Kim could not make as much of an impact as she wanted to due to the limited scope of opportunities for women which was there at the time in WWE. The run would be her second one with the company, and although she had held the women's title, it would be doing her an injustice to say that was the correct representation of her abilities. She went on to wrestle in Impact Wrestling, where she made much more of an impact. She won the Knockouts Championship a total of 7 times and even a tag team title. She retired from wrestling in 2018 and would later take on the role of a producer. One of the women that fans may have forgotten that was a part of WWE is Kharma. She came to the company in 2010 and was a prominent part of their shows until 2013. She was booked as a maniacal monster, one of the first times for a woman to be booked as such in WWE. Her intimidating presence and size saw that she was successful in this role. She never really took part in WWE matches and more often than not was just a monster who attacked and interrupted matches of other women. She became pregnant at this time and was forced to go off television. She would make her valiant return to be a part of the Royal Rumble, however this would be her only WWE match as she would be released from the company because they were unwilling for her to take as long of a break as she wanted. She wrestled in TNA and on the indie scene, and although she was not officially retired from wrestling, she has not taken part in a match for a while. Kevin Nash's return in 2011 saw him as part of one of the more controversial feuds of the time. He returned to attack CM Punk, which allowed Alberto Del Rio to cash in the Money in the Bank contract at the time and win the WWE title. He continued his feud with Punk over the next few weeks and was confronted by his boss and friend Triple H. The feud changed to be between him and Triple H, who would go on to defeat him later that year at TLC. The loss brought an end to the feud and the end of Nash's run as a wrestler with WWE. He did appear in NXT, but that was in more of a non-wrestling role. More recently, Nash was a part of Magic Mike in the series called Living the Dream. One of the wrestlers most adored by the fans in WWE, Melina might not have been liked backstage, but she had an impact with WWE audiences. With her unique offense and athleticism, Melina always drew attention from the crowd. Melina was successful in WWE with 2 Divas title wins and 3 women's championships. Her run in WWE made her one of the most famous women in WWE. Before her singles run, she used to accompany John Morrison and Joey Mercury as their ring valet, and after she was released from the company in 2011, she went on to wrestle on the independent scene till 2012. She took a 3-year hiatus from wrestling before returning to the indie scene in 2015. As the son of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase had a lot to live up to. Sharing his father's name as well, it was not easy for him to stay away from the legacy that his father had set. He teamed up with Cody Rhodes as Priceless and they both joined Legacy, the faction led by Orton. His run with Legacy remains his best and his most memorable moment in WWE. During his time with the faction, he won the tag team titles twice. Although he could not make it as a single star after the faction split up, he later was released from the company but revealed that he wanted to spend more time with his family and away from wrestling. He spends his time now in his business and works for charity, taking care of youth who have suffered abuse. If there was ever a wrestler who stole the hearts of the fans but could not quite make it in WWE, it was probably John Morrison. Near the beginning of his career with the company, Morrison was one of the more hated heels. He made his career with fiendish heel work as part of one half of the M&M tag team. Then known as Johnny Nitro, he teamed with Mercury and Melina to make quite the impact in the tag team division. His luck would continue as part of the tag team division when he teamed with Miz. The Miz and Morrison tag team would be successful and would ultimately launch the Miz towards superstardom. As time would go by, it would become more obvious that the Miz was the more successful of the two. Morrison's solo career was not what he imagined it to be, but he was able to do what few wrestlers have the privilege of doing, and that was stealing the hearts of all the fans who watched him. While he was released from WWE in 2011 after deciding not to renew his contract, he did not slow down. He gained more control over his time and continued to wrestle in the independent scene as well as Lucha Underground while also joining Impact Wrestling, and Morrison has also been a part of a number of films and television series. Possibly the most famous of this list, Edge is one of the most successful WWE wrestlers of all time. In his youth, partnered with Christian, he together with the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys pioneered tag team wrestling and ladder matches. They also showed the world what could be done in a TLC match, stealing the show each time they took part in it. Later on in his singles career, Edge found success by becoming the World Heavyweight Champion as well as the WWE Champion on numerous occasions. He teamed with Randy Orton as well to form the vicious team of Rated RKO. His feuds with John Cena and The Undertaker is stuff of which legends are made of. Over his career, he was WWE Champion 4 times, World Heavyweight Champion 7 times, Intercontinental Champion 5 times, US Champion once, and finally a Tag Team Champion 14 times total. He also won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Although technically he retired, Edge's last match with the company came in 2012. He currently is a regular part of television series and movies, being a part of TV show Vikings as of late. And these were 10 wrestlers that were released by the WWE and where they are now. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more wrestling videos.